Hi, Ellen. I wanted to talk about Robert Frank a little bit because he's quite an interesting character. Yeah, I agree with you. I think he probably was influenced by Lewis Hine. He was definitely influenced by Walker Evans. Walker Evans helped him get the grant that helped him produce this book, The Americans. Let's see if I have a picture of Lewis Hine here. Not Lewis Hine, Robert Frank. One second, and let me check. Here's Robert Frank. This is kind of the way he looks now. Kind of a surly character. Anyway, uh, in The Americans, Robert Frank explores the American ideal of the time from his outsider's perspective as a Swiss emigre. And the book was produced from pictures that he took on a series of road trips around the country, and, and the resulting intuitively sequenced images. And these images were produced with funding from a Guggenheim Fellowship that Walker Evans helped him get. And the images reflect both the dark undercurrents and poetic beauty of American culture. But mainly, it's a cynical look at American culture because the end result, I think, even in his own words, he said he examined the quiet desperation of the American attitude with an overly obsession, too much obsession over money, something to that effect. Not idealistic. For most Americans, the 1950s were the decade of idealized suburban perfection. Veterans had returned from World War II, and then they settled in, buying and building neat little homes and starting families. The baby boom was happening, and the idyllic scene was father going off to work while mother cooks and cleans and raises the kids. Everyone's smiling in picturesque bliss. That was kind of the public image. Well, Robert Frank saw beneath that. He saw below that. He went for the ordinary and avoided the picturesque or the photogenic. He retained the homely details that were cropped or airbrushed out of commercial photographs. So look at what we have here. Let's see if I still have my pointer. I hope so. This composition is kind of unique, and it's like a lone figure walking here with an arrow pointing. Kind of bleak, very bleak and dark tonality. It's a departure. This is a bar in Wyoming. He included both over and underlit images and odd camera angles to imply the unstudiedness and hence truthfulness of his work. In many ways, he was the opposite to Cartier-Bresson. Cartier-Bresson glorified the so-called decisive moment. Well, it seems like Robert Frank is obsessed with or concerned with the indecisive moment. Now, as an American outsider and a Jewish and the son of Jewish survivors of World War II, Frank dislikes the marginalization of all minorities, not just women. And here, he first pictured an all Caucasian celebration of the 4th of July. Okay, very kind of wholesome scene. And then he gets a little more cynical about it. This photograph is a specimen of what had become a new genus, a new genre of picture. The human situation in this picture is described not merely as faceless, but mindless. There's no head or face here. From the shiny sousaphone, there rises this a comic strip balloon right here that pronounces the virtue. He makes a comic strip thing out of the virtue of ritual patriotism. So on either side of this, sousaphone player stand his fellow countrymen right here, as anonymous and as dependable as he. So that's kind of the view here. Now here he presents a segregated trolley in New Orleans, reminding viewers that independence is not available to all. So the black people had to sit in the back here, the white people are in the front. And this portrays the dignity and grief of mourners at a funeral in South Carolina. And the emotion here seems to be imbued with that of the photographer. Now, remember that Robert Frank was influenced by Walker Evans, so he noted that cars, jukeboxes, gas stations, diners, and even the road itself were telling symbols of contemporary life in America, and that, well, a lot of American life, at least at that time, was about the road and a love affair with cars. But look at the beautiful composition here. This is actually very organized and uncharacteristic of his typical work. Look at the beautiful triangles here, this way, the horizon, the sky, and this beautiful medium going into the ribbon of the road. This is a beautiful, simple composition. Anyway, that's pretty much it, Ellen. This is what I wanted to bring to your attention. As you may have guessed, he's one of my favorites. That's pretty much it. You wrote a strong paper, and I'll talk to you later. All right, take care.